Hello Dumelang, hello South Africa. A very warm welcome to your number one youth current affairs show, Gibalelaka Expressions, of course. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala. So the 2023 academic year is upon us, and we know that learners are back at school, and the class of 2022 is awaiting the matric results that are scheduled to be announced by the Minister of Basic Education on Thursday. I can already feel the tension.
We are looking at a different stream of education. Nehamba ngaphaya kwamaziko omzantsi Afrika. Ndithetha ngayo ke i-BRICS Summer School nebibanjelwe at Durban University of Technology. Eyona njongo ke kuqinisa ubudlelwano namaziko kunye nabantu abatsha phakathi kwabo kunye ne-BRICS nation. Ngoku mbukeli masibone sijonge nzulu about the significance neyona ndima edlalwa yi-BRICS Summer School ekubumbeni ulutsha kunye ne-SADC countries.
A very warm welcome to Expressions. For the young people who don't know, what exactly is BRICS?
BRICS is a bloc of 5 countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And it came together with an agenda of an alternative in terms of growing economics in these regions. And when they came together, it was really around political and economics. But now it has expanded to people-to-people exchange. And that's where the youth fall within, as it's called Track 3 of the BRICS. South African BRICS Youth Association really is how can we bridge the gap and use BRICS as a vehicle to stimulate economic, socio-economic issues, transformation for young South Africans. As an example, how to do business in China, how to do business in Russia, India, and Brazil.
Why is it important to include young people within BRICS? Why is the participation of young people so vital and critical? If
you look at the dynamics of the world, the young people of today would have to live by the decisions that are taken by the older generation of today. So we need some knowledge that we can't get from books, particularly in Africa, because we don't have African literature and people don't write. So we can only get this knowledge from their minds, and we need them in the system. However, the majority must be young and middle ages, so that we can ensure that the betterment of tomorrow and the next generation that will follow us would be able to get a world that is better than where we are today. Another interesting one is the new development bank, the BRICS Bank, as known as the NDB. And we have asked the professor to look at what is the role of NDB in the new era of development. You would know your World Bank, your IMF, those are the typical banks that are global borrowers, but now the NDB comes up with a different way of borrowing without attaching any conditions, and that's what we want to put across to young people so that they can know. While we were discussing this here, we create networks in terms of cultural, education, and scientific networks, and also business. So we have a relationship with China, where we're saying how to do business with China. We're getting more South Africans doing business in China. We want to invite South African businesses to go and present at St. Petersburg International Economic Forum at the global platform, where there are funders and investors that would listen to them and see whether their projects deserve to be, but they would have been provided with a platform that would have not been provided with if they were in South Africa. And we want to bring more young people that are in business sector. We want to bring more young people that are in agriculture, young people that are in creative arts, young people that are in politics and diplomacy, that they can find expression and streams of opportunities within this platform.
Why was it important for your institution to be part of this very important initiative?
This initiative is extremely important for a number of reasons. One is that BRICS is becoming a major influential power in global affairs, and BRICS is agitating for reforms in multilateralism in the United Nations, United Security Council, and therefore many other nations in the developing world are interested in joining BRICS.
How exactly do young people benefit from having a summer school here at your institution?
Young people, not only from the BRICS nations, but from the developing world, should be conscientized on how the globe works, how multilateralism operates, and how they can participate and agitate for change. Because all this change is for the benefit of not only the BRICS nation, but for entire developing world. So the presentation I made to the BRICS youth, it was centered around multilateralism. The idea was to give them an opportunity to learn about multilateralism. Where did it start? Starting with the League of Nations, the United Nations, and now newly formed multilateral institutions such as the Shanghai Cooperation, the BRICS, and this gives them an idea of where the globe is working, how in future economic cooperation, political cooperation will be managed and handled throughout the world. I think what has been happening of late is that the youth throughout the world are extremely ignorant about politics, about economic development, and we call upon youth, both in the developed nations, but equally and more importantly in the BRICS and the developing nations, to be extremely excited, to be incited, and to participate in global affairs. If they don't do that, then they leave the running of their nations and the global affairs to the elderly, and the world of tomorrow belongs to the youth. So the youth have to be extremely interested in these developments and make sure that they make their mark and that their grievances are equally addressed.
From Brazil, from Russia, from India, from China,
from South Africa, from Tanzania, from Botswana, from Zimbabwe,
from Mozambique.
It was indeed great to learn about the work of the BRICS Summer School and how it actually makes a difference in the lives of young people from different parts of the world. What is also really exciting is that this month, South Africa will be chairing BRICS, which, like I said, is going to be a huge milestone for the country. Many are hoping that South Africa's chairmanship will mean the advancement of African interests in the BRICS configuration. We believe that if they amplify the voices of young people and give them a more prominent role, this indeed will take place. We'll be back right after this. You are watching Expressions.
Hello everybody, my name is Tommy. I'm from China, Hong Kong. And around me is all the delegates that participated from all over the world, including South Africa. So let me just take you around and we'll interview some delegates, asking them what have they learned about BRICS. Right, let's go.
We are represented the Youth Project Office Russia BRICS, and we find many partners for our future projects and programs from Brazil, China, India and South Africa. And we are very impressed of the participating in this program. Thank you the organizers, for the speakers and the quality participants.
Kubalulekile ukuthi amazwe angaphandle kweSouth Africa esebenzisana nawo kwinhlangano yeBRICS abalekile kakhulu ukuthi sithuthuke ndawonye senze zonke izinto ezosiyisa phambili njengalamazwe sibala kwezomnotho kwezemfundo kwezempilo kuningi ekudinga ukuthi sikwenze ukuze siye phambili.
The biggest takeaway for me is to meet so many amazing friends. We travel very far to come here for this short stay, and we contribute and share different stories for us to get to know more about each other, to contribute what we know for BRICS.
We are our own liberators as the youth. We must liberate ourselves. We must make sure that the future that we want, only we can achieve it through our own actions.
Coming here, it was a real great opportunity, and when we speak about Africa, it's like very less opportunities here, but then too people here, the youth, are so energetic.
It's very important to interact with people from diverse cultures and from various
institutions and places around the world because you get to learn a lot. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm very excited. I made a lot of new friends, learned a lot of new things, and yeah.
Welcome back. You're still watching Expressions, your #1 youth current affairs show. We are focusing on the BRICS Summer School, which aims to strengthen relations as well as institutional cooperation and a people-to-people exchange between the youths of the BRICS nation. Now let's meet some of these phenomenal young people and hear some of their experiences at the BRICS Summer School.
So I'm with one of the young people who are part of the BRICS Summer School that is taking place here at the Durban University of Technology. A very warm welcome to Expressions. Why was it important for you to be part of this summer school? What are you hoping to get out of it?
I think it's extremely important to be here for my organization. I mean, it's very important to be in contact with other organizations from developing countries. So especially as we are a township organization, to be in touch with poor communities of other places, to know other projects that work with this specific group and how they have handled the challenges and successful problems, so we can try to make the same way in our country. We face, for example, poor infrastructure, a lot of police violence, problems with drugs and armed groups, but also unemployment, lack of opportunities. Then it's a very complex situation, and like young people are suffering, but they are very powerful. They are struggling to survive and like to socially have mobility.
And if you could say anything to young South Africans, what would that be?
Organize yourselves. Have empathy with your similars and try to overcome what you have from differences, and like really try to see what you have in common and how to make a change in your local community.
Please just describe to us what it's been like for you to be part of the summer school. What have you learned?
Well, thanks for asking. Actually, I want to be here and meet the young people, like the same generation with me, and I want to know, like, because I know one idea, and they have their own idea, and we can share, and I can learn something from them.
And you mentioned that you've lived in South Africa. I mean, what do you love about this country? What have you enjoyed the most about being in South Africa?
I have been here for a few years. I like the people around me, and yeah, that's the reason I stay here for so long. And I like the culture. Is to compare with the Asia culture is totally different.
And if you could say anything to young people across BRICS, what would you like to say, just to inspire them?
There's a saying: if you walk alone, you can walk very far, but you walk with the people with you, and you can walk together for the future.
Tell us about your experience of being part of the summer school, the BRICS Summer School. I mean, what have you learned? What have you enjoyed about this experience?
Yeah, so it was a phenomenal experience for me, I would say. I got a holistic overview here, just interacting with my fellow colleagues and the honorable speakers. They shared a lot of wisdom on how BRICS is a equitable space and an inclusive space, and how we can use it to tackle the Western hegemony and just attain world peace eventually.
Why is it important to include young people in initiatives such as this?
Most of our policymakers are 40 plus, so yeah, that's we still have a long way to go, but with like initiatives such as the summer school, to give these youth, especially the underprivileged youth, who have a lot of ideas which can, revolutionize and change the way the country functions. Not only my country, it should happen in the other BRICS country as well.
You have young people from Russia, from China, from India. I mean, how has that interaction and engagement with them been like for you?
First of all, it's the cultural diplomacy that I get to see here and to learn different cultures from different countries. And then another thing is to just understand their ideology, their principles, how they communicate, how they, broader opportunities in their countries. It's simply amazing to see how much the youth can do and how much the youth can collaborate to progress in development in our countries.
Give us a little bit of insight of what it is like to be a young person in Tanzania.
We have strong, energetic young people who are ready to learn and make a difference in every day. So when you come to Tanzania, whatever you're facing, whatever challenges you're facing, we will always try to gather our minds. We will always try to make a good supportive ecosystem to help one another. And that's about our country.
So what do you love about South Africa?
Well, South Africa is beautiful. You guys have a beautiful ocean, beautiful, tasty food, and most of all, you're humble. You guys love music. You have, you have the spirit of Ubuntu. It's simply amazing. I can't describe it with one word.
Tell us a little bit about, Siberia. The unavoidable issue around the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. What are young people like yourselves thinking about it? What are the conversations that you guys are having on the ground about what is happening and what the world is saying about Russia?
Actually, I loved it so much that actually the word is not very, it's a very controversial topic, first of all, of course, especially for young people, especially for youth, because there is a lack of information from all of the sides and we are not decision makers and they can estimate the situation like 100% for our perspective. But young people are trying actually to live their normal life because life goes on and we should live, we should study, we should get an education, we should get a degree in order to be successful in this life.
What would you like to say to young South Africans, young Africans, from a perspective of a young Russian?
Yeah, I would love to say that, guys, don't be afraid because, of course, the problems are everywhere. I've been in Germany, I've been many times to Europe, I've been living in Russia my whole life. The problems are everywhere. The question is whether young people are willingness, whether there is a willingness to solve their problems. Because if young people are ready to solve the problems, the solution will come and the young people in Africa will make this continent very rich and very prospective in the future.
Russian expressions will be back right after this.
Wow, mbukeli kwami ndingatsho ndithi kuyaqhulumancisa kakhulu ukuva abantu abatsha representing Brazil, Russia, India, China, dibala ntoni na. Oku mbukeli kucaca mhlophe into yokubana akhona amandla when young people learn from each other. Make sure you don't move a muscle. Siyabuya. Go.
Welcome back. You're still watching Expressions. We continue our focus on the BRICS Summer School that united young people from BRICS nations with the aim of promoting collaboration as well as intercultural conversation. Now let's meet the young people who are representing South Africa as well as some of the SADC countries. Take a look at this.
How are you going to deliver this message, get it to the rural areas on Kandla and many other places so that they get to know about BRICS? How are you going to go about doing that?
I'm from the Eastern Cape in South Africa, which is a highly rural province, and majority of people, they don't have access to the internet. Hence, in our presentation, we included other options like radio. People who are in the rural areas still listen to radio, they still watch TV. So those are the other options in terms of sharing the information around the BRICS block brand.
Do you think the competency of sharing this IP should be at a university level or should be on a government level?
As not everyone, like Africa, is as advanced in 4IR. So if we are sharing amongst the BRICS nations knowledge for the collaborative advancement, then, you know, together the BRICS nations can move forward from emerging economies into the developed economies.
How are these payment systems going to benefit the poor and the working class in our civil communities?
If one comes here to Africa, he inevitable buy souvenirs, get accommodation, buy food, and this helps a lot to you guys, because this is why you can get money from Russian citizenship, from Indian one. Actually, you encourage people to come here by implementing those payment system. We come here, we waste our money here, and that's how it works.
What do you think young people bring to the table when it comes to BRICS as a whole?
Most of BRICS nations, we come from a disadvantaged era. South Africa comes from an apartheid era whereby black people were excluded from the economic participation. And hence we had to see the formulation of BEE, things that had to bring back or make black people to participate over in the economics development. So with that, it helps us not to only bring these kind of conversations in urban development, but also to take it back or to tail it down to township and rural development areas. To the young people that are still skeptical of this type of participation, I would say to you, why do you complain if you don't grab opportunities? Because if we then tend to complain a lot about, no, the government is not doing so much for us, then what are you doing for yourself as a young person, around your community and around those that believe in you?
One of the things that I enjoy the most is seeing that Africa in particular has young people that are driven, are focused, and they have a great ambition for their countries. And I can say the same of Brazil, that the youth from Brazil, the youth from Russia, the youth from China, and the youth from are people who are interested in their country's futures, and are people who are investing in their country's future, who have expectations and hopes, and they're playing their best to achieve those expectations.
It's always said that young people are the leaders of tomorrow. I don't agree with that. Young people are the leaders today. We must recognize that we are capable of, bringing the change that our governments needs, that our economies needs. And young people shouldn't just be called into governance. Young people should be called in the process of making decisions. The fact that I am here, I am making and paving a way forward for those that will come after us, and I am the person that can bring the change about at the moment. I shouldn't expect any other person to bring the change except myself.
We've reached the end of our BRICS Summer School 2022.
Yeah, I do really hope you joined watching us, guys. See you next time. My name is Daniel Pastukhov from Russia.
And I'm Simpiwe Matibuko from Asia at DUT. See you next time.
See you.
Wow, Jackie, today's show was a proof that possibilities are endless. Kanjalo ke mbukeli siyayiqukumbela namhlanje siyathemba into yokubana nifunde lukhulu ngomsebenzi we-BRICS Summer School, indima edlalayo kunye nokubandakanya abantu abatsha.
Yes, indeed, Kolosa, because the BRICS Summer School demonstrates the power of youth collaboration as well as engagement. You know, when young people, Kolosa, from different parts of the world are actually united in learning, they're actually able to solve and find answers to some of the problems and challenges that they face as young people. And with South Africa, like I said, assuming the chairmanship of BRICS, we hope that the youth African voice will be that more amplified. And of course, we want to give a big thank you to the South African BRICS Youth Association for allowing Expressions to be part of the work that they do. But from us as Expressions, we want to say adios, muchachos. Thank you so very much for watching. See you next week. Bye.